I think what most students don't know is that we have sharks on campus. We have a shark lab, and that shark lab's been here since 1969. I actually started at the Shark Lab as a grad student back in 1988. So I came here because there was a world-renowned researcher here named Don Nelson. He was kind of one of the world's experts in shark behavior. And that was something I was really interested in. So I came to Long Beach to get a master's degree with him because he was the person who I really wanted to train under. The other thing is, he not only did he study shark behavior, but he also developed a lot of technology. And that was the other part that I was really interested in. So I think those were the things that drew me here as a grad student. I got my master's here. I went on to get a PhD at the University of Hawaii. And then unfortunately, Dr. Nelson passed away in 1997. But I was fortunate enough to be hired as his replacement in 1998. And since then, we've kept the Shark Lab legacy going. Typical day on the field actually starts really early. So usually everybody's up by 5. We're usually down here at the lab, ready to load up at 6. We're usually on the water at sunbreak, daybreak, and then we're out pretty much all day, depending on the project, depending on where we need to go. We'll be out all day. Usually get back around 6 or 7, clean up the boat, come back to the lab, clean up all the gear, download all the data, archive all the data, back up all the data sheets, and then usually get everything cleaned up, ready to go for the next day. That's about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So my students do that all summer long. And my job is to kind of go out with as many of them as I can to make sure everything's going okay, make sure they're being safe when they're in the field, make sure they're collecting the right kinds of data. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm in my office writing the next proposal or the next report, filling out permits, those sorts of things. Probably one of the biggest misconceptions about sharks is that it's well-funded research. And that actually is not true. So despite the fact that there's an entire week of programming dedicated to sharks, and despite the fact that every grade school kid could probably list off 5 or 6 species of sharks, what they don't understand is that nobody really wants to fund shark research. It's very popular, everybody's interested, but there's no funding. And the reason for that is we prioritize things based on, do we eat it, and do we need to protect it so we can continue to feed people, or is it endangered, and do we need to try to bring it back? So if it doesn't meet those 2 categories, then it's not a priority. What we're doing, which is new for me as a scientist, what happens is I identify a scientific question, I write a grant, and I hope that a state or federal agency will fund it because it meets one of those criteria. But if it doesn't, then I have to find new funding sources. And those funding sources right now are private. So whether they be private foundations or even the general public who are interested and want to help. So this is where anybody can help. So there's a little button on the Shark Lab website that you can go and you can give money to the Shark Lab.